Hey there, chart friends. Lamont here from Chart Gas, checking in on the on the electric vehicles, not the electric vehicle sector, and then also NEE. If you're if you're wondering why plug is categorized with the solar names, and for whatever reason this wind energy name is with the EVs, it was based on member requests, and now I'm just married to it. But also windmill electric cars. Okay, so for Tesla, obviously we know we're watching this weekly EQ, the daily range, and we rejected from the top of the daily range, selling for most of the day, so we are still in this forever EQ. I mean, not forever EQ, but it feels like forever. We've been in this EQ for quite some time, and so we're just continuing to watch it and this range develop in the short term. I believe we highlighted trade up here. Oh, the long trade. Ah, yes, it was looking for the potential hourly high or low. And so, yes, you would have got one fill if you played it just as this. Let's double check to make sure that that was a good place to start scaling in based on 5-minute oversold conditions. Yeah, you probably would have lowered it. Okay, so for example, if this was our zone going into the day, and then the first 5-minute oversold conditions do not enter our zone of interest, well, we had it measured a little bit. Of course, we could have played that and got a chop and stop. But if we missed that, then we'll just move our levels down lower and with making sure that we jump in when the 5-minute becomes oversold. What do I say? Okay, so, but if you played it as as it was represented, which I hope you're not doing out there. I hope you are making your adjustments, at least slightly, or at least verifying, right? Not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to change the trade setup, but just make sure that it's something that you agree with, that you understand. Because if you don't understand the trade that you're in, then if things go sideways, typically it's hard to manage, right? Additionally, you won't be tweaking it for all of this data, right? If I do this analysis here at this time, then there's all this market data that's coming around that could potentially change the setup. So regular warning that I must always do. And so if you got this fill, you have plenty of time to take some profit, plenty of opportunity, I should say, to take some profit off. I can see there was a nice little 2-minute inverse head and shoulders here. Wow, beauty. Man, what a beauty. I think Dan was talking about this, working on a project all day, but man, that is nice. Hey, that's just picture perfect classical patterns, right? You have this falling wedge pattern into a inverse head and shoulders look. Man, well, I mean, I had good. It's you don't get that often. Just really really clean looks. Anyways, so ideally you took some profit before the end of the day, and if you are swinging, it's a bit hairy, right? You don't love it because we closed. Well, I mean, we closed. I guess we did close. We did close, closer to the low of the day than not. So ideally, bulls will want to see this low hold tomorrow. This low, I'm sorry. 433.01 is the key support to hold, and then break over the high of 448 during regular trading hours to confirm this hourly trend change back to the bulls after the bears took it this morning. And so if the bulls are able to do that, that will be our daily higher low. There's a gap to fill, but personally, I don't really subscribe to gap theory very much. It's a good place. Many traders are targeting it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen all the time. It does, but if you think it must happen, that's not accurate. There's plenty of, well, whatever, into it if you. Okay, so I think that covers it. Weekly EQ, daily range, looking for that daily high or low, hourly trend change for bulls to do so. Otherwise, we will be looking a little bit deeper. I don't think hourly would not get oversold until here. Back to playing the base, back to playing the range pretty much. If we can get hourly oversold conditions into the base again, then yeah, some long plays are on deck. I don't hate top fishing plays either. Top fishing in 5-minute overbought conditions, not a bad play either, in my opinion. So if you can get overbought the upper range again, I don't hate it. So from essentially, basically from now until the 21st, potentially beyond, there will likely be a lot of games played, right? Because of the announcement into the S&P 500, this initial reaction, obviously, if you bought it this morning, you got caught, right? It was a bit of a bull trap. So I would not be surprised by more games. And this is the perfect environment for games. We're just in this choppy mess. So we could see bear breaks with no follow through. We could see bull breaks with no follow through. It's going to be tricky now. And really, we just want to be playing these ranges with some kind of extension on our back. Okay, so apply caution on Tesla now that there is some potential fundamental catalyst looming. A bad headline, for example, could get things really bearish for no reason. Like maybe just be careful. Like even a tweet, right? Even a tweet that's like a rumor has it Tesla is not going to in S&P 500. Then all of a sudden, and it could be anybody, right? It could be anybody with any sort of following could put out a news line and then maybe spark some panic selling. So just be careful. Rant over. This is why I keep running along. All right, so NEO potential. Yeah. Extend it now. I could do it all the way here, really. Oops. Might as well include all of it. Point. Okay, so NEO is approaching this. Oh no, it's not. I'm crazy. So potentially setting this lower high here at 49.37. In order for us to be confident that that has occurred, we need the hourly trend change, which has not happened yet. Although this move up does not look terribly impulsive to me. Initial bearish reaction to earnings. Be a bit of a megaphone to be watching out for as well. Let's see. For NEO, really, I still just care about this base for the most part. I just want to bottom fish these lows with extension, knowing that there's this potential channel trend line offering support, knowing that we had this top here, a few bottoms put in as well. So really for the short term, if you're looking long, that's all I really like. Something like that. Okay. And given the run, it's not a terrible reaction, honestly. It's not an all-out dump or anything. So I would not be surprised by just some healthy consolidation, right? Healthy daily consolidation. Why not? Had a big run up. Bears had this big volume day. Bulls showed up to buy the dip. We're likely to set a lower high under 54.20, but ultimately the consolidation looks very healthy still. So bottom fishing these levels here in hourly oversold conditions, or top fishing all-time high resistance if you are an aggressive bear, are the only trades that are on deck. And I shouldn't only trades because one each way, right? That's all right. So something like that, hourly overbought into resistance, maybe even going so far up into the median line. Not so extreme. Depending on it'll be dependent on where hourly gets extended on the RSI. So maybe something like that. If we chop about and then come push up here, cooling off the RSI before we make our move up, then we'll want to be more conservative. Okay? If not, then we'll leave it down there. If we can't decide, then we'll do something in the middle. No, I'm kidding. Make a decision. Gotta make choices here. Win or lose, it doesn't really matter for the trade, as long as your trade had asymmetrical, it was favored in your favor, it was favored asymmetrically for you, and if your risk is controlled, right? As long as that's the case, the trade is good. You know, if you get stopped out, you get stopped out. No problem. You can't win them all. And it's kind of funny, right? If you try to win them all, like if you try to create a perfect system that captures every single move, you can almost guarantee that you're going to day trade, overtrade, right? If you're trying to catch every single pivot, it's very likely that you're overtrade. It's like trader cancer. Okay, second rant over. Okay, NKLA did not quite get into our short zone of interest. Not quite get into our short zone of interest, so another missed trade today. That's okay. Like I said, you can't get them all. Hopefully you were in that Tesla trade highlighted last week and you were able to profit off that. So do I still like a short over here? It's kind of has an inverse head and shoulders look to it, right? Ideally it's at the bottom of a downtrend. It is kind of at the bottom of a downtrend. You could also consider it a bit of an Adam and Eve. So whatever the case may be, bulls are basing down here, attempting to leave the base or maybe just establishing the base some more, testing base resistance. Either way, if bulls are able to get over right now, we're looking for that weekly lower high. Bears are scouting a weekly lower high under 2730 on the daily time frame. Yet to confirm a daily trend change for the bulls. We got this bear break and no follow through, and this rally is straight off of the lows. So whenever we pull back, we'll be looking for a healthy daily higher low over 1759. And in the interim, let's see, for shorts, I don't hate shorts here. So we just want to make sure we're hourly extended again, as always. And the more extended that this daily move gets, probably the better RR you'll get on the short, right? We want bulls to get as extended as possible for a potential short and then have a lot of room for a higher low. So because that higher low is essentially our target, right? That's what we're going to be looking for. So if we can get all the way up here, then a higher low somewhere around here is fairly reasonable in my opinion. If price comes up here and pulling back just even that much is good. All right, so we'll be shorting into this price congestion essentially. Shorting into this price congestion zone over here, and maybe I'll use this low. Make sure that we will have hourly overbought conditions if we enter there. I think a bit more conservative would be better. And again, this is going to change, right? You know, tomorrow, based on the price action, always want to make sure you're scaling in with some kind of exhaustion at your back. RSI, TD, I don't care. Just have even if it's just candles, even if it's just like 6 candles of the same color in a row, whatever. If you want to use Heikin-Ashi, that's fine too. You know, use the Heikin-Ashi candles, whatever. Either way, you just want to make sure that you have some kind of something to signal exhaustion as you sell resistance or buy supports. Okay, so that's the NKLA short, and oh, the Adam and Eve pattern is so much more clear with the Heikin. Okay, and then for longs, we would just be playing this base. Or actually, we'd be looking for a daily higher low. There's no sign of that occurring yet because the hourly trend change has not been confirmed by the bears. But if the bears are able to show up tomorrow, hold this high of 2246, break this low of 2131, then they'll change that hourly trend and have bulls scouting for a daily higher low. And if they were to do so from here, we would be interested, bulls would be interested, I should say, in something like that. All right, so something for everybody. Everybody gets one. You get a trade. You get a trade. You get a trade. What was I talking? That's pretty much it. Okay, hourly overbought into resistance, hourly oversold into the support of the base. Okay, WKHS. So another second short attempt. We had the initial short attempt over here, I believe, or was it this one? I forget. Either way, another short attempt here, and this is probably the worst out of all of them. This one was a bit hairy. This one was a bit hairy already, right? We had this pause and then a lower high, and then we saw some follow through. I don't even think this trade hit target. Either way, This one looks even hairier. It looks very bull flaggy, and it's not exactly what you want to see. But again, you did have enough opportunity for a chop, right? So ideally, before the end of the day, even if you close at the end of the day, you still had decent. Yeah, even if you close at the end of the day, if you find yourself in a situation like this where you don't have that much cushion going into the end of the day, I would even take off more. Instead of taking off half to protect the rest of the position that you might want to leave on, I would take off maybe 3/4 or 80%, or honestly, maybe even all of it, considering what this looks like. Although this is a big ugly wick up top. Whatever the case may be, if you're going to swing overnight, you just always want to prepare for the potential of the trade to go against you in a bad way. And so you want to be as protective as possible if ever you're going to swing. If you don't have profit cushion going into the end of the day, de-risk, take some off of your position. Okay. So WKHS potentially bull flagging into the end of the day. Bears are scouting. Bears are scouting a weekly lower high. Anything under 3059 will be one, and it has kind of a head and shoulders look to it, right? If we come set a lower high under 3059 and then break to lower lows under 1513, we'll confirm this head and shoulders pattern. Potential head and shoulders pattern. It doesn't look very trendy. You don't really want to see this Christmas pattern, right? Red, green, red, green, red, green. Anyway, short-term trades. Bears can be trying again, or if you're sized properly, you can just continue to look for this weekly lower high, I suppose, doing your shopping in hourly overbought conditions, making sure that you chop and then stop. Okay, always respect your stop losses, and if you can protect your position by chopping it up, it's always a good idea. Well, I shouldn't say always. It's very often a good idea. It should be implemented in your strategy, and if it is part of your strategy and you implement it, then it's a good idea. If you're just doing it willy-nilly, then maybe not so much. Willy-nilly? Did I just make that up? Anyway, yeah, so we'd want to just make sure that we're, again, getting our scales in overbought conditions. And if we're looking long, which again, no sign of that yet, the bulls still look good. If we're looking long, then we're looking for a daily higher low over 1652. I can see that there's daily TD support is different because we have completed that 9. So we would anticipate 1 to 4 bars of consolidation now if you are a TD trader. So where would we look for longs? We would look for longs like somewhere down here. All this price congestion over here, and we would get hourly oversold, something like that. And finally, NEE. I think I had a big page today. Just more sideways. So again, did not get into our ranges. This trade is really still all I care about. Not doing much of anything, but bulls are staying over this base, which is similar to FSLR. FSLR is very similar in that bulls are getting nothing going, but they're maintaining over this base. It's not looking good, honestly. This wedge, if it breaks bullish, great, but you don't really want to see price stay if you're long. You don't really want to see price stay at the base for so long. Ideally this wedge breaks out soon. Anyway, back to NEE. I don't know why I'm talking about that. Very similar in that it is trying to base over these previous highs. But that being said, even if we did pull back, there's still some space for a potential weekly higher low. I don't love it if it were to pull back from here, but relatively okay. All that. That's all it is. Bulls are just hanging out there. But I will say that they're not, positioned terribly well, right? So for example, if NQ, the NASDAQ, were to set a daily lower high here and then start their daily consolidation, then names like FSLR or NEE are not really positioned so well. They'll probably break down into this range again and test these lows here. Okay, so if that were to happen, we were to see some consolidation, then we'd be back to bottom fishing the lower end of this range again. Right, we have that. Same setups, really. We just be looking to bottom fish in hourly overbought and oversold conditions. So the top trade, maybe we'll adjust it a bit. Short trade, I should say. Maybe we'll adjust it like that, making sure that we're hourly overbought once we get in there. Or, oh, I guess potentially if we're looking for the okay, so maybe this trade is live. I don't remember. If that was the case, and we're just bottom fishing this EQ, not a bad place to get in, but it didn't. The day didn't close well. So wouldn't be confident here, and didn't get profit, but you did not get any potential to take profit as well. So this one's pretty hairy. Oh no, yeah, no. This one would be hairy if you came in end of the day. I don't know if I would have suggested that because it's dumping into the close, bit of a high risk. Anyway, yeah. So for the long side, we would just be looking for something. Yeah, maybe a back test of that previous channel. All this price congestion back here, and hourly oversold. It would surprise me if price were to just cut through that. It would take a lot of volume, sustained volume, to just cut right through all of this congestion. So that about covers it. Thanks for tuning in. 20 minutes. Oh my god. Thanks for tuning in if you have tuned in for this entire time, and I will see you all soon.